Hey guys, so I've had persistent requests to make videos on meditation, and I have some trouble with this. One of the reasons I have trouble with this, there are several reasons I have trouble with this, and let me try and speak about those within here. The first thing I find trouble with this is that I know people who come to a point of released awareness of the present moment without meditation. I can actually say in my waking life that this is how it is for I now. And I know that other persons, through sickness or spontaneous spiritual awakening or through certain uses of different drugs I've experienced and seen as well with people, tragedies, crisis, they come to this position where they transcend their carnal mind, their ego, their thoughts, and they come to a point of released awareness of the present moment, unconcentrated awareness of the present moment. And those persons are kind of already where they need to be. And I know people like this, and they become spiritual mediums or they become healers because they are always just automatically present. And thus, for all meditation can relax them and calm them, to come to the transcendence of ego, raising above your carnal mind, it's not actually something that some people require. You see, I guess what I'm going to try and say in this video is that each person is so different, it's very difficult to say to people online, this is how you should meditate. Now, if you're in that position where I'm at now, I find it very simple for I to come to the present moment. But there was a time where my thoughts would race. And I remember trying to do different meditation techniques during that time. Now, most persons who speak to I are interested in closed eye meditation and stimulating the pineal, because this is something I mention and speak about in my esoterics. Now, to reach that position where you can sit still and close your eyes and release all thought and realize that you are connected to the all as you take in the breath that fills every void around you, thus you are the breath. This is a stage I can come to at this present moment in my development of my consciousness, of my being, with great ease, shall we say. Now, other people might not be there. Other people might still be way back where they have not had that spontaneous awakening, and they still think that they are, in my instance, I would still think that I'm still John. And I would try and get John to meditate. And then there's two things between myself and the state of meditation. There is John between myself and the state of meditation, and there is meditation between myself and the state of meditation. And if that confuses you, if you look to something like Zen teachings, where in parts of Zen they won't even use the word meditate. They call it stilling or sitting. Because, as I just mentioned, the meditation puts yourself, it's as if you need to do something to reach that relaxed state of awareness of the present moment. And in actual fact, the present moment is there, and for many people, meditation practice is not required to reach it. I can see the beauty in everything around me with great ease these days. Great ease. And many people do not, because they're inside their thoughts of self-judgment, or thoughts of tomorrow, or thoughts of yesterday. They're inside thoughts of suffering. And they haven't realized that suffering, if you're sitting in an empty room like this and nothing is making you suffer, you're not sick as such and there's nobody here calling you names, then the suffering you're experiencing in a room without suffering is all mental. And thus, then your meditation becomes finding the root thought of the suffering and severing it. If I'm always thinking of a past event and allowing it to harm me, then my meditation is to find that and to release the root thought. You see, meditation is a plentiful experience, and meditation techniques can be a very difficult thing to teach. It's probably easier to speak about where you're trying to get to. And what you're trying to reach is here. This beautiful, wondrous present moment. And if you can come to a point where you take no thought for it, then the energies of that moment, the consciousness, the states of consciousness around you, the different vibratory fields of consciousness around you can speak to you using your subtle intuitive body, because you're not filtering it with thought. If I'm always looking out, for instance, at this beautiful sheet behind me and going red, yellow, green, purple, black, leaves, tree, I don't get a chance to experience its beauty. And you were once there. When you were a baby, when all of us were a baby, there was a time before we knew self and other, and thus we were just plugged in with our five senses to the experience of reality and consciousness. And we had no memories, we had no expectations of the future. We were just there, plugged into the constant experience. We were part of it. If you were in a forest, you were part of the forest, the rustling of the trees, the green of the leaves. You didn't even label it, you just were an experiencer, a point of awareness that experienced these things without a label. And what a rush it must be to be a baby in that state. Because it's the same rush that we feel when we empty our minds in meditation and take no thought, as great teacher Jesus Christ said, for our life around us. Now, due to all of this, teaching a meditation technique, as I say, is difficult. If you want to just sit in the dark and see a great light, and you're struggling with thought, then work out how your mind will respond. Ask it, do you need to be thinking now? And if it needs to be thinking, sit back for 10 minutes and let it think about whatever it wants to think about. And say, but when you're finished, I need you to be quiet because I have something I need to do. Speak with it as your friend. Now, when you watch your breath, let me say it this way. There's a simile in Buddhism. Now, many people, the problem you have in saying this is a meditation technique is that for some people, what I've then done is placed something between them and the goal of a meditative state. Because what I do is, in saying he's a meditation technique, I conjure the illusion of the need for concentration in people. Now, I have here a good way to show you a simile I'm borrowing from Buddhism. Here I have a glass of water. Now, I'm going to concentrate to try and make the glass of water still. I can't. Doesn't matter how hard I concentrate on this glass of water, I can't make it still. It's still moving. But if I let go of the glass of water, then it will come to its natural state of stillness. You see, in teaching a meditation technique, with many people, you place something between them and the present moment. They feel that they have to go and sit down to reach that present moment. They have to go and concentrate, and it's an illusion. What you've got to do is let go of everything. You've got to imagine yourself to be a baby. Unless they become as children, they may not enter the kingdom of heaven. Become as a small child without a label and description for everything around you, and a reason and a judgment. And just plug yourself in as a conscious point of awareness and let your senses experience the moment. And if you're not in that moment, you can't see the beauty. When you're not in that moment and you're in your thoughts, you can't see the beauty of the trees. You can't see the beauty of these colors behind me. And I think that would be the first thing I'll say on meditation. Is initially, for some people, they need to transcend their ego. Now, I am the type of person, if you spend any time with me personally, if I see someone drifting into their thoughts, I'll try to make them laugh, or I'll do something. Even Zen masters will poke someone in the ribs, and I never used to understand it, and I understand it now. I'll do it with Fritzi. If I see her drifting into her thoughts, I might jab her in the ribs for her. Just not painfully, but it pulls you out of your thought. Or I'll do something very silly to make her laugh, because laughing transcends the ego and transcends the thinking. And this is what you need to be doing, is to come to that permanent rooted state in that present moment, where you're taking no thought for your day as you go about. Of course you need to think whilst you do things. I am creating things. I'm not holding space in this reality. I'm not a Buddha holding space and teaching and healing. I'm a builder at the behest and the request of God. So I have to think. But I also go into things with a blank canvas. For instance, Featherstail Children's Village, which you've all seen manifest around me over these years and you have helped to manifest, didn't start with me in my ego thinking something. It started from a clear point of unconcentrated rootedness in the present moment. And because of that, I can hear subtle energies. I can stimulate my pineal, as many people ask. And I had a dream. I had a dream that I was building little houses with a lady I know who cares for special needs people. And the next day, when I sat still again with that dream on my mind that I remembered, because my ego was not busy getting me to do this, that and the other and worrying about this or that, I was still and hearing these subtle forces that the ancients would call spirit, but these subtle energies in the field of consciousness that we are attached to via our atoms, our neutrons, our electrons. And as I sat there listening, it began to unfold. Of course, if I build small rooms, single mums with special needs children can live together. They can go out and work and leave the child with the neighbour. The neighbour knows how to look after the children. I didn't create it from my thinking. I created it from my not thinking. I created it from my emptiness. Because in the emptiness is where God will speak to you. And that's the first thing I'll say on meditation, is rather than sit and teach people a technique, you need to know the person, so it's nearly impossible firstly. But everyone should know what they're aiming for. And some people might even already be there. Some people are already like dazzled lemmings when they walk out their door because the world is so wonderful to them and beautiful. Even if it's just for parts of the day, because they're taking no thought and they're just experiencing it and they're nourished by it. And in which case, trying to teach a person like that meditation would only put something between them and that experience, because they wouldn't have realized that the experience people seek in meditation is the one they already have when they walk out the door. because they try to concentrate on something and they haven't let go. Whereas prior to trying to meditate, they'd already let go. So work out what type of person you are. Do you look to the world with glittering eyes, as it was said by Roald Dahl? Look to the world with twinkling eyes. For the greatest secrets are often hidden in the most unlikely of places. Those who don't believe in magic never find it. Doesn't mean abracadabra magic. It means if your mind is not empty and you don't look out into the world and see that the world is magic before you without your labels, then you never find it. And you will see this if you took a monk and a scientist to the forest. The scientist might start analysing and doing this, that and the other, and he might find magic in there, but he would not experience the forest like the monk would. Unless he's a meditated scientist who can sever that cycle of thought to plug in, to be a being of no thought plugged into consciousness and open for it to tell he or she what to do. The same way a tree is plugged into consciousness and knows to grow. The same way outside of your intellect, your body was plugged into consciousness and knew how to grow. And is plugged in now and knows how to beat your heart. It's just not able to plug in and tell you, go this way, that way, unless you take no thought. So, I'm going to record another video just now about the self. But for now, I just want to say that on meditation. God bless, guys.